when we first spit out the first iterations of the generation from all the different traits they put in. I remember the first time he saw it, and he saw his artwork in a way he's never seen before in his life. And it was almost overwhelming for him
Wow.
because 20 years of his work is in the Boonji project. And I think that's what's so special about it.
All right, guys. So today we have a super awesome guest. I want to say thank you for all the support we've seen recently. Um, we have Mr. Greg Norman Jr. from the Boonji Project and Jupiter Group. Uh, yeah, shit. I mean, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And guys, if you want to check out the last podcast, I think I did one with Jordan Castro a few days ago. If you want to check that out with Doodles, we're just gonna get started. We're gonna talk about Greg as a person, the Boonji Project, Jupiter. We're going to get into all the things, and I want to make sure, because I saw some comments in the last video that people were saying it wasn't technical enough. I didn't ask any deep questions about details and projects, and that's not really the goal of these interviews I do with people. It's more to figure out who these people are as humans and to just basically humanize them. There's so many people with projects that nobody knows who these people are, and I just think it's really good to humanize them. So we'll have some rapid fire questions at the end. We got some good stuff. And yeah, so I'll just roll my intro. Guys, welcome to your Joyage. It's Cage, your guide. I'm replacing the voice I dread for now, giving you a break from the constant internal monologue that is the human mind. I want to say first, thank you for listening or viewing. Whatever platform you're on, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, drop a like in this video. This interview will go on the main channel because it's NFT related, but usually Joyage podcasts on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. That's where all that shit is. So go ahead and follow that. We're going to get started right now. I just want to say first, Greg, that, dude, the Boonji Project, your Twitter, and like, the level of engagement and level of community you've built just from doing things like retweeting, responding, gifts, all those things, it's been unbelievable, and it's definitely set you apart from all the other projects. Is that something that's always been on your mind from like your background in marketing and working in socials and all that?
Yeah. So while this is my first experience of building a company in crypto and NFT, I've been building companies for over a decade now and running companies and working in companies from sports marketing, licensing division. I was a professional athlete for about 15 years, worked with my dad, Greg Norman, in our family company, doing branding, licensing, building companies, investing in companies. So had a very good base already to be able to understand what it needed to take to launch this as effectively as we possibly can
Hell
and
yeah.
grow it and help it sustain itself.
Do you think that because I didn't go professional, but I did play college sports. I dabbled in the NCAA arena, so I understand the whole thing with teamwork. Do you think any of that work with professional sports has helped in your way of like teamwork and delegating and tasks and being a leader and all that stuff?
Yeah, for sure. So I did play team sports growing up. I was a professional kiteboarder and wakeboarder. And individual sport, I played a lot of golf too.
Hell yeah.
Individual sport, I think it prepares you for failure more so than anything else.
Yeah.
Because, example, with action sports, you got to be prepared to eat a lot of shit,
Mm-hmm.
then get up and go do it again, iterate, evolve, get better and get better and get better. So I think that's a great analogy for how it is to start a company and launch a company, because it takes a ton of work and you have to dedicate yourself 100%, 105%, as much as you possibly could do to even get close to something that's successful. I built wake parks before this, built golf courses before this, and it took years of work in order to make sure it happens. In this space, in tech, in crypto, as you know, a day is a week and a week is a month and a month is a year. It happens so fast. And it really is all hands on deck all the time in order to keep grinding it out. And you got to love it. So same with sports. If you're not loving it and you're not grinding it, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, and for anyone listening, that was a huge gold nugget he just dropped, is that real brands, like something like I always bring this up, like The Simpsons is not built in one season. It's not built in 1 year. Simpsons is built over a 20-year period of brand work. And with Boonji, I see that. I see a lot with similarities with projects that focus on branding and aren't really focused on short-term utility that everyone loves to throw around. And Boonji is really focused on in real, like I know that you guys are doing some giveaways with like real art. You guys are trying to do like art galleries, to do events and all these things. And those are the real things that build a brand, and you guys have a lot of experience with that. And I got to listen on some of the interview with, I forget what the guy's name was that you did like last week, but I was able to hear about the part how you had grown up basically working with someone who was in the business world, and so you had that business savvy sense, just you got handed the right set of cards or whatever. And what was that like? Because what age did you start working and being like, okay, I'm like in business right now? Was it like 12 years old kind of thing? You just like jumped in, or?
Well, it's following my dad around the world in his professional golf career, and then also seeing him start up the business and be able to operate a business while also having a professional golf career. So I was just inundated daily with how much work he had to put into it. So that's just normal to
Mhm.
me now, and I guess in a way, it's yeah, it's normal. I saw it from an early onset about how hard he had to work in order to grow anything of substance, whether it be on the golf course or whether it be in the boardroom. It's not in any way, shape, or form normal.
Yeah.
It's not the amount of workload you got to put into it. The day to day is not 9 to 5. It really is 20 hours a day. You need a spouse. I'm lucky to have a fiance who completely understands what it takes in order to build something, because she built something herself. So it takes a team around you. It's certainly not is just me. It's my partners. It's our moderators. It's our community managers. It's our developers. It's everyone involved with this putting all hands on deck because they see the long-term potential of it, because they want to see it grow, because they feel connected to it. They feel pride being associated to it.
100%. That's so important. And talk to me about, because this is something that I have no problem with, because I, for like a year straight, just listened to everything Gary Vee said or Tom Bilyeu said. I just was like, all right, I'm just going to go with that and apply it as much as I can. And Gary talks a lot about delegation and knowing when to say, you know what, it's going to take more effort for me to learn this thing than just to hire somebody else. So talk to me about delegation, and if that's something you guys pounce on as soon as possible. Do you wait a little bit? Is it better to do it all when you're first getting started? Because I know there's a lot of new people who watch this, a lot of people starting new projects, and they're like my age, young 20s, and they're like, I don't know what's going on. I've never started a business. Like, do you have any advice for that?
Yeah, when you're that young, and I started a business when I was really young too, no one has a clue.
Mhm.
Just remember that as you're starting up your business or doing anything new in your life, everyone starts in the same building block, which is everyone's probably scared
Yeah.
and insecure uh, and tired all the time. You're wired and you're tired, but
Yeah.
it's fun. It's engaging. It really is an adrenaline rush. The highs and lows are exceptionally dramatic.
Yeah.
So you got to be used to be comfortable with hitting on both sides of the valleys, the peaks and valleys. It's just like very arbitrary way to say it, but it's true.
Yeah.
And I think that I can't underscore enough. And I listen to Gary Vee, and he's a very good role model in this field. Is that he's aptly put it? You're going to have to eat a lot of shit in your 20s in
All of
order to
it.
make it in your
All the
30s
shit.
and into your 40s. Yeah, you will. And the more you do it, the more it gives you calluses
Mhm.
to be able to prepare yourself for the next bad thing that's going to come up, because there's always going to be bad things that are going to come up. And it's a way you have to work with your team to be able to navigate it, but then iterate it and then grow on those little chinks in the armor, those little roadblocks to make it sure that it is successful. And yeah, look, I mean, if you're starting up, if you're doing something new, whether it be in sport or business, dude, I got to tell you, everyone is insecure at the start of it. Everyone's scared. Everyone is nervous. Everyone needs to know how hard it is, because no matter how big the business is, no matter how big the influencer was before they started the business, it's still exceptionally difficult.
Mhm.
You go listen to Gary now, the guy grinds 20 hours a day because he loves it. And
Yeah.
you better love it before you get into it, because there's going to be hard times more so than the bad times.
Yeah, 100%. And what you said about building those calluses, it's so true. And I know I said this in the last podcast, but Will Smith said something along the lines of success on the other side of fear. And it's so true in the sense that you really can't know what the other side is like until you've opened that door. And for me, like I was working at a restaurant. I hated my life. I was making a lot of money, but I was like, what's the end goal here? Am I just going to work at a restaurant my whole life? And so I was like, well, I want to try this like road trip thing, and I live in a van kind of thing. So I was like, well, I can't afford a van. So I just transformed my car into a mobile home, traveled the whole country for like 6 months, lived in my car. And like the amount of just internal growth I got out of that, and then the ability to just pivot at any moment and say, fuck it, I'm doing this, fuck it, I'm doing that. I've spent 6 months doing this, but like now I got to do this, and I just got to be able to put this down and pick this up. And that only comes from that experience. And it's huge. It's like the most important thing. And I just want to know. So this is a little bit transitioning, but you were in sports, you were in media, you were with golf, you were with that, like hardcore business. How the hell do you get roped into an artist-focused project like Boonji with Brandon Murphy? Like, how does that even happen? Did you know him for a long time? Was he like a golfer or something? Or
No, he is an athlete. He was a professional basketball player. He fell in love with tennis. So there's a small connection there between tennis and him. But my good friend, who's now my partner in Jupiter Group, Nicole McGraw, she was the curator of a gallery that worked with Brendan for over 10 years.
okay,
She built up his projects, built up his artwork, sold his artwork. And so back up a step, I was introduced to crypto at a very young age. I was 25, I guess, but from a young age in the industry
yeah,
by a good friend, Bill Ty, who started Dapper Labs and then did Crypto
okay,
Kitties. So and by the way, your interview with the founder of Doodles was awesome.
thank you.
He's really good too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a hell of a project got going on there. But he worked with Crypto Kitties.
Mhm.
So Bill introduced me to blockchain and Bitcoin back in 2011, and I got obsessed with it. It fell down the rabbit hole a long time. Gained a lot of good network in that space just by connecting with people, talking with people. While I never did anything building wise, I invested into it, and I obviously got obsessed with it, as it
Yeah.
tends to do to people. And so Nicole, fast forward, wait. So back up a step too. We were pitched to do a Greg Norman NFT by a third party, and this is not a slight at them whatsoever because this is not their expertise. But there was no marketing plan, there is no strategy, there is no execution, there is not little to no effort in the artwork. So I saw from the inside what it was to be like a brand looking at or getting pitched by another third party to want to take their brand and do an NFT. And one thing for sure we never do with Greg Norman Company is we try to minimize our downside for the brand, but maximize the upside. So we never just jump into anything arbitrarily. So we pulled back the throttle of doing the Greg Norman NFT just to observe the landscape for a little bit. And then Nicole came to me a couple days later and said, "Look, I work with all these artists. One of them is Brendan Murphy. He really wants to do an NFT. All these artists are talking about NFTs because this is just after Beeple's big $69 million thing. So it caused a ripple effect
Yeah.
within the industry. And she said, I want to partner with you to launch Jupiter Group. I want you to be the CEO. She knew how connected I was, not just in the sports and marketing world, but also in the crypto world and how passionate I was about it. So I jumped in head first, literally jumped in head first and put pretty much everything else behind in a way. I got great people running the other businesses right now, but I spend 99.9% of my time focused on Boonji Project, Jupiter Group, and our next project, Polygoons. So she had the artwork, she had Brendan, and the beautiful thing about how this all came about is even though Brendan is a world famous contemporary artist, he's got 22-foot statues in Antigua
Yeah.
and doing one in London, et cetera, et cetera. He was never in this space before, never understood NFTs before, never understood crypto before, but he knew the opportunity there ahead of him in terms of what it could do for his artwork. And he wanted to dive in headfirst too. So all of us at the beginning of the year just said, fuck it, let's go. Let's do the Brendan Murphy NFT. Eventually, it evolved into being a 10K avatar project, 11K avatar project for us. And we tried to figure out a way how to distinguish ourselves, which was we have a living, breathing artist, Brendan Murphy, who's dedicated himself full time to this. He's got a laundry basket full of in real life physical art that he could incorporate into her. So our theory and our model from day one is how to connect his physical world to his now digital world. And that's what we did with the Dutch auction and minting. If you minted during the Dutch, we gifted away $5 million of in real life art from
What
him.
the fuck, dude? That is insane. I remember hearing about that and I was like,
Yeah.
whoa. That is
Yeah. It was,
crazy.
and was really special is the other day we just found out who won the 7-foot, $750,000 Boonji sculpture, and it's a kid from Fort
Oh
Lauderdale.
my God, that's
He's
so
19 years
crazy.
old.
This
He's a
kid.
college student, And he's so enthusiastic, man. He knows what this is and how powerful this is for him. And now he's Brendan Murphy's youngest collector. So now that we've gotten past the mint, now we're going to focus on how do we gain value for our current holders. And that's the beautiful thing about Brendan. He's dedicated to this day and night in the community, in the Discord, in Twitter, talking to everybody, because this has done so much for him personally as an artist. Because now you have, at one point we had 135,000 people in our Discord
Good God.
learning about him for the first time. And majority of them, they probably never heard of Brendan Murphy's art before. So now you have this artist who lives in the contemporary real world now connecting with a global marketplace, right? Now he's connecting with people we spoke with him the other day, in Thailand, in Australia, in New Zealand, in London, across the globe. And now people are understanding who Brendan is, his type of artwork, and now connecting with art like they never have before.
Yeah,
So
I've never connected with art
that was
before I
fascinating
saw
to watch.
NFTs.
Yeah.
I mean, that literally opened the door for me. I'd never bought art before in my life, and then I saw one I liked, and I was like, well, I guess I gotta download a Phantom Wallet. It was on Solsi, and I was like, okay, so I bought one, and I was like, oh, I kind of like this, and I was like, this is different. This is not what I thought it was. And for Boonji, some people are gonna hear what you said and apply it directly to them. So the difference between the Boonji project with Brendan Murphy is Brendan was a very established person in the art world, just in real art, contemporary art, and all that stuff. If you're a no-name artist, if you haven't sold millions of dollars worth of art, to hold an NFT project and be like, we're going to give you a piece of art, it doesn't mean as much because you're not Brandon Murphy. So it's really important not to like shit on those people, but it's really important to make sure the distinction is there for anyone new. I mean, if you're just starting NFTs out and you've never sold any art ever, do not list your thing for 75 Ethereum because it's just simply not worth that yet. I mean, I think some randomly do sell for something crazy, but you have to earn your way. And Brendan has been doing that for years, doing art and building his own like thing there. And people can see that. You can feel vibe pretty quickly, I feel like. And yeah, that was something I noticed really early on was the amount of engagement that you guys were doing was on par with like only 3 or 4 other projects that I've seen that are in the profile pic collection world. And it shows it's so painfully obvious which projects those are. And it's really, in my opinion, it's not that hard to know when the real bear market comes and everything crashes to zero. Likely all the projects are going to take a massive hit. And I know everyone was dogging on me because they were like, Dogecoin's not going to go under 1 Ethereum. I was like, it's going to get ugly, guys. All the projects, it's going to be blood red for a while. And during that time is when you find the projects you know you like and just have a note and just scoop those up when the bear market comes. And if there's artists like Boonji or Brendan Murphy that you couldn't get your your hands on it because it's half an Ethereum, it was two Ethereum at one point, I think the floor was. And it's like, yeah, it's just it's priced off for a lot of people. And for those people, just wait, just be patient, hold your liquid, and just wait and buy later. And I would love to hear your thoughts on how you guys went from let's do an NFT project with Brendan Murphy, this prominent artist, and then going, you know what, let's make a 11,000 like collection here. And then also what is Jupiter Group in relation to Boonji exactly? Is there a difference there? Are they the same?
Yeah, for sure. So Jupiter Group is the company I co-founded and the CEO of, which partners with individuals like Brendan Murphy, brands, institutions, organizations, IPs in order to help build out their total NFT vertical. And when I say NFT vertical is that the way I see it, the way I believe that this whole technology is going to take it is already revolutionizing how brands and businesses connect with their customers.
Mm-hmm.
I've typically you have an idea for a product, you build a example of that product, you try to find product market fit, you find some customers, and then you marketed it. Well, this just flips everything on the head, right? Mm-hmm. Now you're building up the product with your community. You build a community base first, and you're engaging with them constantly, talking to them, actually iterating on the product with them, gaining advice from them, because a lot of them have some beautiful ideas.
Yeah.
There's some really smart people in this space, and they have exceptional amount of good ideas to help build up the product or build up the business or build up the community themselves. And that's what I think is amazing, because now you have 11,000 or you have 5,000 or even 2,000 people who are actively engaging in your business because they're intrinsically involved. right?
Mhm.
They want to see it all grow together. And that is what honestly Web3 is about, right? It's pulling everything together where everyone could eventually profit off of it, not just a centralized unit profit off of it. And I think that's beautiful. And I think we're going to see this flood of brands and major organizations coming into this NFT space because the cat's out of the bag
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
People know that there's a lot of money to be made in this space. So they're going to do everything they can to try to put an NFT product out there for people to buy. But I do believe we've gone past this point already where
Mhm.
people can sniff out the bullshit.
Yeah.
They know what's going to be real and not real. If Nike comes, I heard this from the other day, and I wish I knew who said this in a tweet. And I'm not even going to try to say who said this, but this is not from me. It was the announcement from when Nike did the Roblox deal
Yeah.
with Nike Land, right? They said, what's a better headline? Nike makes $100 million off of Roblox, or a kid makes $1 million off of selling a digital Nike shoe.
Right.
I think that's so much better.
Yeah.
And I think as the brands start evolving, they'll realize that last storyline is so much more impactful for the longevity of what they're trying to build of their brand if they have ambassadors everywhere because they're holding these assets, holding these products as NFTs, which hopefully everyone's working together as a community to grow it.
Yeah, and that's the new age of social media, I think, because for so long, even still right now, like the reason I opened my channel is because all the channels are the same. Even my favorite people in the space are all making the same video. I literally have not watched any of their videos except for Tony because I just like him. And it's just 1,000x coins, this, that, and it's all clickbait. And I'm like, dude, if I blow up and I have 1 million subscribers, I don't want to have to make those videos to appease my audience. I want to make the videos that I believe are actually valuable and not have to clickbait every day. And to grow a company based on that, on community first and legit value, how different is that from running your past companies? Like you literally were just like, I'm doing this right now, and you're going all 100%. How much of that from your past have you been able to apply to this new style of marketing and media and brand building?
Yeah, it flips everything on its head for sure. But I mean, the core concepts of running a business is still there. You still need amazing people around you in order to run the business. You still need everything to work out correctly. You
Mhm.
still need a marketing strategy. You still need a PR strategy. You still need all these core concepts that do take a lot of time and effort to build out. But so it's now reverted back to me. Like now, I own a wakeboard park called Shark Wake Park. We're in South Carolina and in West Palm Beach. And it's made me realize what a community I have there, that I need to apply what I've learned from Web3 into this.
Mhm.
I'm not saying I'm doing this right now because there's a lot of legal implications, but I would love to way to see how to turn that into a DAO.
Yeah.
I would love a way to see how to turn into a golf course into a DAO, where you could absolutely have the membership having controlling interest because your membership most likely would run the business better than the majority of people out there because it's a hive mind, right? You're getting input from so many different people. And so you did say something a little bit earlier I want to revert back to is that how you kind of lost interest in the same shit people are talking about over and over again, except for a few. Like Tony does a really good job for sure. Um, this industry is so new, and like any industry, you're going to have people out there trying to exploit it, right? We all know
Yeah.
how many scammers drop into the Discord to try to change one letter around the URL to try to scam people out of their money. And that does get even the smartest people, even people from tech,
Yeah.
people still
Yeah.
fall for these scams because it's so new. So I think every industry does go through these growing pains. I think it takes evolution and people getting used to it and people getting burned. They're either going to get pushed out of the market or they're going to understand it and be able to have those calluses, as we talked about earlier, in order to protect themselves even better. But I think what's so cool about this space is that this is true financial sovereignty,
Mhm.
right? We are the sovereigns of our own assets, if you will, from Bitcoin to Ethereum to Solana to our NFTs. We are in control of that. Everything we do on the internet, especially in Web3, we have to be purely accountable for.
Yep.
So we have to be accountable and responsible for the fact there's probably going to be X number of percentage of people are full of shit,
Yeah.
completely full of shit. But I do think that is going to get pushed away because the vast majority of people in this market, in this industry, are here because they love it.
Yeah.
They're either incredibly smart, they're either incredibly in tune to the way the culture is going, and they just feel like this is a good place to be and honestly want to build it for everybody. And I think as we talk about, like what Tony's doing, what Doodles is doing, what Dogepound is doing, there's not many of these groups out there. Even though there are a couple hundred, whatever, a couple thousand different NFT collections out there now, it's still nothing.
Yeah.
It's still tiny.
Right.
There's still a fraction of the population of the planet involved with this. So I say that we all really do need to all work together right here. I think majority of us who are on NFT Twitter, we know there's a bit of a drama going back and forth between some big influencers the last few days.
Yep.
And it was sad to see.
Yeah, it sucks.
Really sad to see, because in this time period right now, everyone's got to be working together to grow the pie, or this pie could be a burnt piece of shit on the floor if we don't allow it to be. So everyone, it's all hands on deck, in my opinion. And guys like you actually building something of substance and real. I went back and watched a lot of your episodes.
Thank you.
You're doing this right. You're doing this correctly. You're putting your all into it. You're thinking about it. You're responding accurately to questions and doing a good interview based study, but you're also building out your platform in the right way, which takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I compliment you and applaud you for what you're doing here.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate you watching those videos too. That's the way I want to do it. I don't know who said it, but someone, I read it or I saw, and he was like, if you get successful, if you succeed, and you did it the wrong way, you are going to hate yourself when you get there, because all that work is going to literally have been done for nothing. And I was like, I saw people like Impact Theory with Tom Bilyeu and Joe Rogan's podcast, and I was like, that takes 20 years. It's going to take me 20 years. It's only going to take up forever. So let me just do this right. Even if I don't get to 100K in March, which is like my number that I want to hit, because it would be cool. Like, I'm not going to start making clickbait videos every other day so I can hit my mark. I don't really care. And so, yeah, I want to do this right. And how you just said about the drama going on. I don't know if you remember, but Trossley with Jungle Freaks, that whole thing happened with the art from 20 years ago or whatever it was. And I remember when that happened, I had talked in a video like a couple weeks before. I was like, hey, guys, just make sure if you buy into a project as an artist, you really, really have to make sure that all these other things are taken care of. You don't want to just buy in because of the artist, because if anything goes wrong, obviously you'll see what happened. And when that happened, that whole day for me was so weird. I felt like depressed and just dark, and I didn't like the vibe on Twitter. Every one of the people I looked up to was just talking shit on Twitter, and I was just like, oh my God, this is not what we needed right now. And I said in the video, I was like, this kind of opened Pandora's box to just like straight up toxicity and straight up just like civil war and what's the word, polarizing, just arguments back and forth. And I was like, we were so good, and we just like hit that wall, and it happened, and it's fine. But how you said it, we're all in this together. Like NFT land, we're 1% of the whole world right now. The 1% of the entire world, still not even 1% knows about it, and only 0.1% are actually participating. And so if you're in this space, if you're listening to this interview right now, honestly, you're 10 steps ahead of the herd, because most people are just watching X YouTuber saying this is going to blow up tomorrow. You're not learning anything. And there's actually so much value you can get from just listening to an hour while you're on a walk or doing dishes. But talk to me. So I know we went broad there for a second, so I want to take it one step further. Do you see, because you talked about a DAO for your companies and your golf courses, do you see something like Nike or Adidas or big companies doing a DAO style of thing? Is that the future of brands and companies in general, or is it only for like NFT, metaverse related stuff, do you think?
I would love to see it get that way. I really would. But I think it's going to take a lot of time for a big organization, a publicly traded company, to be a full DAO. Even though it somewhat is, a publicly traded company should be fully engaged with the shareholders at all times and listening to shareholders at all times. But it's only through quarterly reports and maybe a phone conversation. It's not like this where you're engaging with the community 4 or 5 times a day through Discord and Twitter, probably even more. So you're getting that constant feedback, which is also so cool, because you're getting that constant feedback to help evolve everything and grow it. And that's why I think everything's so rapid right now. But I think Gary Vee is 100% right. This is going to take over the world. And you can go back and listen to every one of his conversations for the last 2 years. And he's been talking about it and hyping it up. And I know it's true, because not only do I listen to him and guys like him, but I'm having conversations with the thought leaders and the executives of major major companies and major brands, major
Mhm.
organizations and institutions. They all know this is here. They all know they have to build a strategy, but very few actually see it the right way,
Mhm.
which is why I think this flood is going to come in.
Yep.
That the masses will come with it, and those that don't do it correctly, without the right mindset, they're going to get pushed aside. And unfortunately, a lot of people will get burned by that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, a lot of people will stay behind and see how much more powerful this is of a world adoption for a way to be strategic about not just business but about community for longevity. And I think it's inevitable. I really do
Mhm.
think it's inevitable because when you have like the NBA that they did for Top Shot, that was the first entry for a lot of people into what this thing is. Then you're going to have the NFL,
Yep.
and then you're going to have the UFC, then you're going to have the MLB with Galaxy and Candies, and you're going to have more and more of this, where these platforms and these brands with millions and tens of millions of people behind them will introduce blockchain and NFTs to these people who never even think about it before. And if done correctly, which like what Top Shot did, they'll never have to know the word crypto,
Yeah.
yet they are involved with the space. And then they will fall down the rabbit hole. And then more people will fall down the rabbit hole. So, yeah, I do think, back to your answer to your question, I do think it's inevitable. I don't know when DAOs will come to major organizations like that, but I do think it potentially could happen on a smaller scale in small business,
Mhm.
like Gary did NFTs for seating in a restaurant.
Yep.
That might be the first example. I would love to try to do it one day for a DAO for the wake parks because it's in a public entity. It's in a public park. We have a great membership, a great community, people who love it. So that would be a fantastic use case. But unfortunately, the United States is not very conducive to building out these type of entities because there's so much regulation on there.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing we got to talk about. I mean, like we're on the an edge right now, right? These are not investment vehicles.
Yeah.
These are products.
Yeah.
Okay, these are products and these are art. And so we have to, as a community, our global NFT community, make sure we're not doing anything rogue and not stepping over the boundaries of the law because they could come in there like that and it'll change up the whole landscape very quickly. And the way this is structured right now, it's beautiful, right? We are selling art, we are selling products, and it is a free, open, creative space right now for both artists and for entrepreneurs to be able to develop and grow. Free for you, a creator like you, an entrepreneur like me, a creator like Brendan. We could absolutely find this new foothold in something that's very, very new and the very beginning of this global hockey stick. That's gonna happen.
Yeah. 100%. And I wanna I want to go. I think we talked about it a few minutes ago with Jupiter Press. This is completely like off topic because I feel like we killed that part of the conversation. Like I think we hammered that home. If you didn't hear that, if you didn't understand that, just rewind because that we killed that topic. You just covered that like literally perfectly. Every follow up question you answered before I even got the chance. So that was dope. But question for the Jupiter project because I know you've mentioned that a few times. Is that like a launch pad? Is that the company? Is a launch pad similar to like the Dogecoin launch pad to get artists out, or is it going to change up to different projects, or what are you thinking there?
No, I really like what Dogepound's doing with their launch pad, and maybe we'll be able to do something like that today. But so no, it's not technically like the Dogepound launch pad. So we get deeply involved with the artists in order to build out their entire platform,
Hmm.
right? So we don't just bring on anybody because we don't, even if they have a massive brand or following, we still don't want to bring them on because that individual or that brand or whoever it is needs to be in lockstep with us to see the long-term vision of what this is,
Hmm.
not as like I'm going to leverage my brand and sell products.
Right, right.
I think that's not going to ever work. So Jupiter Group does. We identify people like Brennan Murphy and people like Mr. E, and I'll get into Mr. E in a second, who are going to devote themselves completely. And as an artist, they know the power of what converting their past history of art into NFTs could do to connect them to a vast new audience of individuals who are going to enjoy their art on a much different level because now they're holding of their assets, if
Hmm.
you will. So Mr. E is our next one. If you guys go to Instagram right now, it's MREGFX, Mr. E,
I'll look that below.
GFX. He's got 500,000 followers on Instagram. You're going to get lost in his Instagram account because it is the craziest, most amazing digital graphic work you'll ever see. So he's currently got a collection out there on OpenSea called Polygoons, Poligoonz, and we're going to be launching the Polygoons Collective with him. So that is tying an ecosystem back together, how Brennan Murphy and Boonji holders will gain whitelists into the Polygoons and vice versa. And there'll be a lot of collaborative work between the two.
Oh, that's cool.
In order to grow the community and more network between the two. So It's not like we're certainly not leaving Boonji project behind and focusing on something else. We're connecting a broader audience and we're connecting a broader network. We've hired a lot of new people like Coin Banksy to run the community management for Polygoons. We've hired Ace, who is our new marketing manager for Jupiter Group, which is overseeing both the Boonji project and Polygoons. We've hired a pretty badass new PR team to help spread the word and get us out there in a public audience. So we've made significant hires and brought on some amazing talent to grow both of these collectively because there is an interconnected ecosystem between the two.
Can I throw in a question there? So I know a lot of people who are listening I've had a lot of people ask me because I work with Ugaverse NFT. And so I just got that job off a YouTube video. I literally made a YouTube video. I said questions, like brutally honest questions I have for Ugaverse basically. And they watched the video. They reached out and said, hey, we liked you. Like, do you want to join our team as like a whatever? And a lot of people were like, how the hell did you get that job? What do I need to do? What do I need to learn? What course do I need to take? How can I join a team like Boonji? Is that even possible? Or do you need that 5-10 years of experience to join a big project like that?
No, you don't need 5-10 years of experience. You just need to be a hard worker, great ideas, and be able to really grind out with us. So we are actively hiring without a doubt. If you want to go send us your resume or go connect with us, connect me on Twitter, connect with me on Discord, send me an email at info@jupitergroup.io because we're searching for the best and brightest people to be able to build out our company because we are actively getting more deal flow, yet alone our current projects right now, Boonji Project and Polygoons, we want to bring in as much talent we possibly can to give that as much as we possibly can, to put the resources back in as much as we possibly can. So as you know, in anything in life, if you're going to go look out for a job or want to be part of anything, you got to go try to reach out there and take it. 100%. It's not going to always come to you.
Never going to come to you. Usually.
Never going to come to you. You're absolutely right. Yeah, good. Well said. So you got to go out, reach out. And if you want it badly enough, keep fighting for it. We've already made some hires within our Discord community. We've already made some hires from Twitter. So, we're connecting with people on a day-to-day. And as I told you, that community that we have has brilliant ideas. There are brilliant people in this space who love being a part of this. So that's what we need. We need people who are passionate about it, who are intelligent, who are hardworking, who are collaborative and teamwork. And let's go. We're ready to go. We're ready to hire.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Do you, is there anyone from like is there like a headquarters, like a real life headquarters, or is everything remote? Do you have people like showing up at your office saying like, hey, give me a job? Or like, what is it like being in like a legitimate company brand NFT project thing? What is that like?
Yeah. So I'm used to building businesses, like from start to scratch in the real world, right? Like I show up on site around the lake. I build up the wake park day in, day out, working in the sweat and heat in the sun with people. And, And so with this, we built up Boonji project from people all over the world.
Okay.
It was amazing, connecting with people via Zoom, via conference, via Skype. Not Skype's dead. I shouldn't say Skype. Telegram, via WhatsApp, like it's pretty damn fun to be a part of this because everything happens so much faster because we don't have to deal with driving to a damn office every day. I used to drive to my office. It took me an hour and a half every day to drive to my office. It was a gigantic waste of time. It wasn't a waste of time because I listened to a ton of podcasts.
Yeah.
A lot of Rogan, a lot of Gary Vee, a lot of Lex Friedman.
Yeah, I love Lex too, man. Love that guy.
Great show. He gets some brilliant people on that show.
Oh, tell me one thing. With your thing in South Carolina and Florida, you said because I'm from South Carolina. I was born and raised there in Charleston. Where is that?
We got Shark Wake Park in North Myrtle Beach.
North Myrtle. Okay, cool. Hell
yeah. Charleston's a great town, man. I love
Charleston's
that place.
Cool. Yeah, I was there for a long time. I was ready to get out of the humid, so I'm in Colorado now. I'm looking to either move to like Minnesota or Washington State. I've always liked the cold. I've been in a hot area my whole life. I was like, I need to change. But I have one last question. Unless was there anything else on that topic? Actually, I think I interrupted you. So
No, I didn't. So no, you asked about an office. We are going to build an office, but it's not for everyone. Day 9 to 5,
mhm.
come in and do that old school way of doing business. I'm not about that. I'm not going to have my team do that. We're going to be more of a gallery and a meeting place.
Okay.
We're going to have our artists up there, our NFTs up there on digital displays, and have a meeting room and hangout spot. It's really good to get that minds in one room spitting and talking and collaborating.
Mhm.
So that's what we're going to do. But besides that, I mean, we have people working and living in Ukraine. We have
Oh, that's
people
cool.
living in
Nice.
California. We have people living across the world
Mhm.
building this. It's amazing.
So I'm going to ask this question because since I have you, I want to ask this is like a selfish question just because I want to know and because I do NFT photography, so I'm not a NFT creator. I wouldn't say I'm definitely like NFT content creator. So I do have NFTs, but they're more photography. They're more art based. I do have some utility things, but that's not like my main thing. So I had a question from an artist perspective. So with Brandon Murphy, what is the difference between his vision of a long term play, long term vision, strategy, and all that stuff versus you? On the other hand, you come in from a business angle, marketing. These got to work. Like we got to make sure these things happen, and like this has got to happen because of this. What is the discrepancy that usually happens, and how do you like go about that with an artist?
He had a really good conversation the other day about it. We were comparing the two. And as he's going into a new project, say a 22-foot sculpture,
Mm-hmm.
it takes 3 years to
Mm-hmm.
put together. And he iterates it on, chips away. And just like you can imagine a block of granite and the artist is just chipping away on it until it comes to what it is on the inside, that's what it takes for business too. You have to start with a goal and a vision and just slowly chip away at it and grow and iterate and develop and see how it all transitions. And then take that, maybe you throw it away and then grow it again and then try to iterate on that again. So I think there's a really good analogy between sport, between art, and between entrepreneurship, because you have to have a long-term vision in mind. Nothing happens overnight, especially in business, and
100%.
especially in what we're doing with Brendan Murphy. So in this space, in the NFT space, everyone expects everything to happen in the next hour, right? And some teams are really effective at doing that. But we're dealing with Brendan Murphy, who is a living, breathing artist who's got an exceptional amount of in real life work going on too that we're trying to connect to. So with that in real life work, there is a ton of third parties that you got to ensure the contracts are
Mm-hmm.
all good. You got to ensure that everyone's following step and saying the right thing legally and
Yep.
doing the right thing legally. So lawyers come involved. So it's a process, and it has to be a really carefully curated process, because if you do anything wrong or screw up the wrong way, it has profound repercussions.
Yeah.
So art does that way too. Brendan, when he got into Boonji project, he had 20 years of past experience behind him. As you look at the avatars that we have, the paintings behind
Mm-hmm.
him started 20 years ago.
Yeah, that
The
is
bodies,
crazy.
the visors, the ears.
Yeah.
It's a culmination of 20 years of work
Mm-hmm.
for him. And I'll end it on this one because I think it's really cool to talk about. When we first spit out the first iterations of the generation from all the different traits they put in, we had 60 backgrounds, 60 visors, 60 bodies in 20 years. And then we chipped away at that and made it better. And then we did multiple different iterations of the software to spit out what each randomly generated avatar looked
Mm-hmm.
like. I remember the first time he saw it, and he saw his artwork in a way he's never seen before in his life. And it was almost overwhelming
Yeah.
for him
Wow.
because 20 years of his work is in the Boonji project. And I think that's what's so special about it.
Yeah, that's so cool. And how you just said like it was 20 years of work and then right before you said nothing is built over time. In fact, for people listening, you absolutely do not want it to go overnight. If it goes overnight, that is you're literally fighting an uphill battle for forever. If you make a TikTok that goes viral and you get 1 million followers tomorrow, now what? Chances are you're not gonna Charlie D'Amelio it and fly to 100 million. Chances are your next video is gonna get 4,000 views, and the next one's gonna get 200. So it's really actually scary to go viral, because if you go viral, there's all this pressure. People don't know who you are. They don't really know your brand. And it's actually a completely uphill battle. And so I think, honestly, we covered like the bulk of this interview. We hit so many topics. And I do want to do a rapid fire thing if you have time.
Yeah, please.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, let's go.
First one, this is the only one related to Boonji, but what was Mint Day like if you were there? Like on the actual Mint Day, was it stressful? What was it like compared to anything else you've done?
Man, it was very, very stressful. Because you have so much riding on it. Transparency. The week before we pulled the plug on our mint.
Oh,
We
wow.
stopped it dead in its tracks. We stopped it before any transaction could happen because our Discord was completely flooded with bots and
Shit.
people were getting scammed left and right. We didn't want any further damage to happen to anybody.
Mhm.
So we stopped it before one transaction happened. We got very lucky that we stopped it in time before anything else happened. But we stopped. Then we waited another week to prepare ourselves even better, and we got more safety nets into the Discord and through our platform so we could protect people better. So we went through that the first week. The second week coming up, all this pressure is on you again because you got to execute on it. It really feels like you're going to battle,
Yeah.
or you're going into a championship game, or you're ready to tee off at like some major event, because that's what it is. You have this buildup of months of work to a single time
Game
in
time.
space, and it better work.
Yeah.
Luckily it worked.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. And the best part is your brand English, your brand building and your networking, you're talking to people. That is what allows you to push back your mint and not have a civil war happen, because people are like, look, we fuck with these people. They're looking for our best interest. We want the best for this project. They're thinking long term. We want long term. Who cares? What's 1 week? You know what I mean? And that's awesome that you guys were able to do that. It's awesome. Okay, now we'll go into, this is more you focus. What was your first relationship? When was it? And how long did it last?
Oh, wow. I was with my girlfriend in high school for 6 years.
Wow.
We met as sophomores, and she came with me to college at the University of Miami. And I moved down to Australia. And unfortunately, long-term relationship didn't last. And luckily it didn't, because I've met my future wife and we're about to get married in a week.
Oh, in a week? Oh, shit. Well,
Next week.
future congratulations. Damn, that's crazy. That's awesome.
Thank
Wow. Is she into NFT stuff as well, or does she have like no choice? Or are you just always talking about it?
No, she's amazing, man. She knew how much hard work I was putting into it, and she did everything she can to educate herself on the side to be able to understand what I was doing.
Wow.
And now she's a buyer. She loves it.
No
She's
way.
able to tell people how to open up a Coinbase account to buy
Let's
ETH, to send
go.
up your MetaMask, to open up your OpenSea, to finally place a bid. I mean, she's in. She loves it.
Damn, that's so cool. Yeah, I got my mom recently. I was like, look, I got a cool NFT. I'll give it to you. You just gotta like open account and just like put some money in and do it. Like, I would love to. That's so cool she's doing that. That's awesome. What's your favorite homemade meal, fast food meal, and restaurant?
Homemade meal, can't go wrong with a steak. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Nice filet mignon,
Oh my God.
maybe some mashed potatoes, garlic mashed potatoes on the side. Meal, going out, sushi. Love it.
Hell yeah.
One of my favorite places in the world is Tokyo, Japan.
Mhm.
I love the culture so much. And then, what was the last question?
Favorite restaurant, like specific restaurant if you have one.
Kote. It's a Korean restaurant down in
yeah.
Miami and in New York. Amazing place.
Well, it's funny you said Tokyo. My mom's Japanese. She's from Japan, from Nagoya. So I've been in Japan so many times. And likewise, I love Japan. And their food is just, it's not even comparable. It's so fucking good.
It's so fucking good. It's so clean. The culture's amazing. People are so happy. I love the place.
And I'm sure, like, how tall are you? Are you like taller or like average height, or like
5'11"?
Like you're a giant in Japan. You know, like I'm 5'9". I'm like 5'8". I'm like a giant in Japan. It's weird. Like I'm walking in grocery stores, top shelf is like right here. It's a weird thing, but I love it. Okay, 2 questions left. At what age did you begin to become your true person, like stepped into your final form kind of thing? What age did that start?
I don't think I'm there yet.
No? Okay.
Nope, I don't think I'm there yet. I don't think I'll ever be there, because I think no one's ever there. I think you're constantly learning every day. I see my father go through many different transitions in his life, and he's had a very experienced, well-traveled life. And one thing I've always learned from him is that he is constantly learning as well and constantly growing. So that's how I want to be. I don't want to think I'm ever static.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. And the final question, I made a tweet the other day and I said, be very, very careful who your role models are, because if you listen to them enough, you'll start to become them. Who are your role models, and are there any role models that people from like 13 to 30 should be focusing on more often? Because like I'm looking at Tom and Gary, but are there people that you've heard about that maybe other people have never heard of that you've followed for a long time?
Yeah, I've been following Joe Rogan for a long time, from his early stages before he got big. I really liked how you look at Joe and he's this meathead wrestler,
Yeah.
comedian, but he's constantly asking questions and
Mhm.
wants to learn, right? He's got an open mind about everything. And he always doesn't think that he's got the right answers, because no one really has all the right answers 100% of the time. So Joe is a big influence in my life. And then my dad, like I said, I've been very lucky to be able to travel the world with him, be able to experience how he interacts with people, how he was able to be an athlete and then grow a business. So yeah, my dad and Joe.
Oh yeah. Were you able to talk to him about these things, or did you kind of just pick up on like vibes and like how he just was? Was it more observing, or were you able to like pick his brain a little bit, or?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. He's very good about me asking him questions almost incessantly about about what's going on in the world. When I was a kid, I was constantly harboring him for information.
Interesting.
So yeah, I was always tapping him on the shoulder, look, hey, you know, how did I do? What did I do wrong here?
Yeah,
How could I do that better?
100%. Damn. All right, guys. Well, that was like that was a top level interview right there. That was amazing. I really appreciate you coming on, Greg. And there's so much value, guys. I really appreciate everyone watching. Is there any like? Do you want to shout out anybody? Is there anyone you want to like say like I appreciate you, like highlight this or whatever? Well, I'll plug all your stuff down below and all the Boonji, Jupiter, your stuff. But is there anyone you want to shout out or anything like that?
Yeah, man, I definitely do. This has taken a gigantic effort from very many people to build up Boonji project like it is, and to build up Jupiter Group like it is, and to build up Polygoons like it's gonna be. So our moderators, Needmo, Boonji, Complexities, Boonwalker, Boonjoy, Bad and Boonji, Sorry, there's a lot more. I
Yeah.
got a list. Hang on, I got a list.
Hell yeah.
These guys are awesome and they grind it out. Jabunji, also with Banana Man, Coin Banksy, and then my partners, Chris King, Kevin LaFew, Nicole McGraw, Jim Feltman, and of course, Brendan and Mystery. And Ace. Ace, she's new on our team.
Oh yeah.
She's been amazing contribution to it. So yeah, as you can see, I unfortunately I need to get better at remembering everyone's names.
Yeah.
I need to write them down because we have a few of them, but I'm very thankful for all of them. They've done a great job.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And you guys can tell like if you listen to this interview and listen to Greg talk just now and you are not more bullish than you were before and it's just good. You can tell the type of person who's running a company if the company's going to do well just by their demeanor. Like Gary Vee talks about, there's a lot of subconscious things you can pick up from to see if a project or if a CEO or whatever is like authentic and you can tell just from my conversation with you the kind of person you are and the stories that you had and you being transparent is so amazing for all the NFT projects. So if anyone's watching and maybe you know someone or you have a connection or you have a project, please reach out. I'd love to do interviews. This is amazing. Greg, I want to say thank you one last time for coming on. It was a pleasure.
Appreciate you, Kate. And anyone else out there who's got questions about wanting to launch a project and needs to talk to someone about it, don't hesitate, man. Or anyone out there, just please reach out because open book here. Happy to help.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
Kate.
watching. Thank you. Subscribe, like the video, all those things. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Or I was looking at the camera. There's no camera right there. I'm looking here. Bye, guys.